rest day working moms, and welcome back to So This Is Motherhood. In today's video, we are going to be doing a controversial parenting tag. Stay tuned. Good rest day working moms, and welcome back to So This Is Motherhood. And if this is your first time tuning in, I just want to say thank you so very much for clicking and for deciding to spend your Sunday with me. So without further ado, I know, we are just going to jump right on into this controversial parenting tag. If you excuse me, I got my notes right here. So first one, right off the bat here, it is ProLife versus ProChoice. I am pro-life for myself, and obviously I am pro-choice for everyone else. It's not my body. I don't know what's going on with you in your personal life. For some people, you know, the first time they got pregnant, they had severe hyperemesis gravidia and ended up in the hospital for 3 months, and then they were on bed rest. Like, I don't know your story. It's clearly your body, therefore it's clearly your choice. But I would also say if you are just one of those people that are, I don't like to, you know, use condoms, and I can't remember to take the pill, and like you're constantly getting pregnant like all the time and constantly having abortions, I really would just strongly urge that maybe you should be making better life choices to ensure that you're not constantly having abortions. But that's just my 2 cents on that. So next topic is, of course, co-sleeping versus bed sharing. I decided to throw the bed sharing part in there because there's there is a lot of common misconception about what co-sleeping is. Co-sleeping, in a nutshell, is where you have a roommate. Bed sharing is if you have a bed parasite. There is a difference. I am pro either one. There is a lot of scientific evidence that proves that when baby is sleeping very close to mom, it helps to reduce the issue of SIDS. Thank you, honey. Baby's heartbeat syncs up with mama's heartbeat. The breathing syncs up with mama's breathing. Like, he's like learning how to live, he or she I should say, is learning how to live outside of, you know, the womb. You know, they're not used to having to breathe on their own. They're not used to peeing, pooping, being cold, being wet. They're not used to any of that stuff. So I am very pro co-sleeping or bed sharing. If you want to learn about how to bed share properly and safely, look up the 7 safe sleep steps. I don't think I'm saying that 100% correctly, but look up the 7 safe sleep. That's what you need to look into. And also, Baby Virgo is still bed sharing with us at 2.5 years old, but we are working on having him sleep away from me temporarily. So I'll have him fall asleep on me, and then he'll lay in his room, and then when he's, you know, wakes up in the night, he comes and finds me in the bedroom. It's totally fine. I have no issue with it. On to the next one. We are going to do breastfeeding versus formula feeding. Now, obviously, breast is best. I mean, it's been scientifically proven time and time again. They cannot replicate breast milk because it is alive. It is like a living organism. You know, it's feeding off of the mother and the baby. Like, there's so much involved with breast milk, and, you know, it helps lay down healthy gut for the baby those first 6 months, which is why breast milk is so important. And there's just, no matter how much they try to replicate it, formula just does not cut it. And I'm not saying that's bad. You know, it's just a fact of life. Human milk for human babies. I actually have a lot of friends who have suffered from insufficient glandular tissue. So it doesn't matter how big their breasts were, they just did not have enough of the milk glands necessary to make enough milk for their child. So obviously, you know, for their mental health, they had to go to formula, and they still like feel guilty about it. And it's like, honey, it's not your fault. But they still say, like, my body was broken, it can't feed my child. And like, I can't, it hurts my heart to hear them say that, like, still. And they're like, their kids are older, and they're still like, my body's just broken. Like, girl, my heart goes out to you. Obviously, I think it's best for mom and baby, if you can at least breastfeed, to at least try your hardest, try your darndest, especially like when the baby's like, you know, within the first 72 hours of life. That colostrum is so important. Like, even if you really just don't want to breastfeed, just at least give the baby the colostrum. you know, those first few days, and then go on from there, live your life the way you want to live your life. I do feel very sad, though, for the ones that can straight up breastfeed with no problems, you know, and they have the right support system, and they just don't want to because they're worried about their boobs sagging and all this other nonsense. Like, it makes me sad, you know, when you're a mother, you're everything that's in the well-being of your child should come first, always. So, to piggyback off of the breastfeeding versus formula feeding controversial, obviously breast is best, but fed is mandatory. And how do I feel about extended breastfeeding, which I guess in this society, this American society, I would say that extended breastfeeding is anything past the age of 1. And I am all for it because there's been countless scientific studies done on breast milk after the baby is 1, and it shows that the nutritional value is still there. It's not just the mom's doing it for attention or because she can't get, you know, she just doesn't want to let go of her child or she just wants to keep her child close. Like, statistically, according to the WHO, full-term breastfeeding ends at age 4 globally. And there's been countless studies done nowadays that show that cow milk is not beneficial to us as humans at all. That's why there's a huge rise in lactose intolerance and dairy issues. So, I don't care who I offend with that, it's a fact. Everything that I have done for Baby Virgo has been on evidence-based practices, and it's always had to be within the 5 years, like from shortly before he was born even to now, and I'm always looking for new research, and I'm just like, show me the science. That's the kind of person that I am. Show me the science that proves that this is right. And I also myself truly have a lactose intolerance, and Anakin kind of does too. So I don't drink dairy, and I give dairy from Daddy Gemini. I will not drink dairy. We have oat milk, and it is delicious. Moving on. The next subject, routine infant circumcision. In this country, in America, is done on males in this country. I personally take it one step further. I am anti-circumcision for all infants because if you look it up under the medical billing and coding here in America especially, it is listed as a cosmetic surgery. So cosmetic surgery means it has no health benefit to you. And cosmetic surgery belongs on consenting adults, period. Not your body, not your choice. Babies have been severely maimed. They've lost their genitals. They've undergone, some of them have, undergone tremendous trauma, extended hospital stays, near exsanguination, death. It's just not worth it. And statistically, circumcision in this country for boys is at least in the 34 to 36% of boys now are being circumcised. So we're nearly there to being an intact nation again. No. Do your own research, protect your child. It's not worth him losing his genitals or his life. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But across the board, we need to just stop taking knives to all genitals of all children, whether they're male, female, or intersex. Just leave the babies alone. Just leave them all alone. So, going on to the next controversial topic, baby ear piercings. Since I am 100% a firm believer in my body, my choice, no matter what gender, I believe that since, again, infant ear piercings are cosmetic and it is medically billed and coded as cosmetic, same thing with it goes baby infant ear piercing and infant circumcision. So they're both cosmetic, so they're both not needed. Since I was fortunate enough to have a father step in on my behalf and tell my mom that, he wasn't comfortable with me having my ears done as a baby, it should be my choice. So naturally, it should be a patient's choice. It should be the child in question's choice. If Anakin wants his ears pierced, all for it. If he wants them done at, a young age and he keeps asking for them, by all means, his body, his choice, Obviously, I have to teach him that, it's going to hurt, and we will never, ever, ever get it done with a gun. There's just, so many biohazards with getting it done with a gun. It crushes your ear, the backings get stuck, cause severe damage to the earlobe. Just never, ever, ever get pierced with a gun. Get it done with the needle. So, if he wants his ears done, we'll go to a tattoo parlor and get it done professionally. So, moving on to the next controversial subject, vaccines. I am pro-medical freedom and pro-medical choice, since vaccines are technically a medication, that you should have all of the knowledge, you should have all of the facts before you vax. See what I did there? For us personally, we stopped vaccinating. I was doing an alternative schedule, and he still got sick where we were constantly in the hospital, dehydration issues. And the more research I did on it, there's just a lot of controversy surrounding vaccines, and especially with the adjectives involved in them, the deaths surrounding them, just a lot of bad reactions. I know people personally that have had severe, life-altering, physically damaging results from a simple flu shot. So I just encourage everyone to do their research, know the risks, and do what you think is best for your family. When the time comes, we will be doing homeoprophylaxis for him. And I just feel better about that. There's a lot more safety studies surrounding homeoprophylaxis. It's actually used in other countries like India and Cuba with a huge success, and no outbreaks after administration of homeoprophylaxis, as opposed to this country where you get vaccinated 2 or 3 times with the same, vaccine, and we still have outbreaks. So something to look into. Next controversial subject, screen time. I do screen time. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's a lot of great cartoons out there that teach a lot of amazing things, and sometimes when you're a parent and you're going and you think you can do it all, you really can't, especially for even the stay-at-home moms. They're so busy worried about other things, and they just need that extra time. I'm not against screen time. Obviously, don't let your TV parent your child. And even though I do let Anakin watch TV, he really doesn't watch it that much. It ends up being background noise. He doesn't really watch a whole lot of cartoons. He likes the music videos that we watch, the ones like the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, all those things. All the typical nursery rhymes. He's been listening to nursery rhymes since he was 7 months old. I have a dragon baby. He's high needs, he's fussy, he's colicky. And he still is at 2.5. So just music to keep him entertained, while he's running around my house destroying everything. He won't really sit and watch a lot of TV. He just has too much energy. So. Okay, so next item on the list is teen privacy. So obviously, privacy is important. Respecting boundaries is important. I don't intend to cross any sort of privacy boundaries with my son unless it warranted, I'm worried about his safety or something like that, or some things obvious like apparent drug use, just erratic behavior, things like that. That's the only time I plan on invading his privacy, if I'm concerned for his safety. I grew up in a household where my privacy was invaded all the time, so clearly I have issues with that. So underage sex is the next topic, and they're referring to sex under the age of 18. I just plan on being sex positive with my son and just letting him understand that it is a very adult decision, to have sex. So I'm hoping that, he makes that decision to have sex, obviously, when he feels like he's of age. I'm not going to encourage it, but I hope to create a very safe environment where we can talk about sex and sex positive, since I grew up in a very strict, non-sex positive, very strictly religious household, and sex before marriage is a no-no. I don't intend to teach him that. It's just not fair, and it just makes sex more enticing and more alluring for him to engage in dangerous behavior. We will be talking about all things safe, condoms, birth control, things like that. So that's where I stand with that. And obviously you can't control what your child does. You can hope that you educate him or her, I should say, enough that they will make the right choices. Kids are going to do what they want to do. Now, home birth. I was very on the fence about home birth. The first time I had ever heard about home birth was with a friend of mine who has 8 children. She turned me on to it. She was very crunchy about that. And when I asked her about it, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It was a novelty to me at the time to realize that you didn't have to birth in a hospital. You know what I mean? And at first I had that same ignorant mindset of oh my God, that's so dangerous. How could you do that? Now I realize, after watching The Business of Being Born, I was very pro home birth after that, especially being a black female, knowing that I was 5 times more likely to die in a hospital setting, and me and my children, all black women are 5 times more likely to die and their offspring in a hospital setting compared to a home birth, because the system is still very color segregated, if you will. So my intent, after I watched The Business of Being Born, I really wanted to have a home birth with Baby Virgo, but his father would not approve. So next baby, though, will definitely be a home birth with a midwife and a doula that are women of color, you know, for my safety and for the safety of my child as well. And last but not least, we're going to do public versus homeschool or unschooling. I am very pro unschooling. I truly believe that the public school systems, especially if you do the research, they are creating mindless drones. They teach you what to think and not how to think. So my intent for Baby Virgo is to not send him to a public school. He will be sent to a private Montessori school, which is about 15 minutes from our house. And that's where I feel about that. I've been to both public and private, and I feel like private is a better opportunity. And we'll be making enough money at that time that, you know, obviously tuition won't matter. So those are my answers for this controversial parenting tag. If you like the content, of course, hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button, and definitely hit that notification bell, so that way you can be notified about new content that I'll be uploading for you guys every Sunday in the afternoon or Monday in the afternoon, depending. You will be seeing more updates from me, of course, since I live in Ohio and we are on the stay-at-home order. So you'll get to see our shenanigans and my thoughts during this coronavirus quarantine. And until then, have a good day.